to, to come to the UK. So like right from when I was younger, Harry Potter movies and the likes. So that aside, graduating from the Department of Public Health Unical as the only first class student at the time. So I was so honored, and like I felt a lot of pressure, like trying to navigate postgraduate education and everything. So coming from a struggling family, I knew like it would be a lot of burden for my parents to take care of my like master's education, since like my junior ones are still there. Yeah, so I got insights, I got mentors. I didn't really place them like mentors, like the professional way people have mentors and all that. I just placed them like my go-to persons, like people I just meet for advice, like, oh, this is what I'm doing, and like they're always there to help me out. So this is just like a tip. So like always like have these go-to persons for you. They may not really be like your age mates or something. So you must always be cordial and like know your boundaries, like while trying to like obtain maybe information or advice from them. Always be respectful. So these things help those kind of relationships to foster, and you can also like do other things to benefit them. Maybe they have a program they are doing, you could also partake in and stuff like that. So yeah, this go-to persons really helped my life. One of them was I started this journey with the Chevening Scholarship. Yeah, so I wasn't set for Chevening. Like I didn't make the final shortlist, but I made it up to the interview stage, and that was like a real big deal for me. Like that's like dawned on me, like wow. Go for. I didn't really I didn't really do much like in terms of like being unaware, because I'm very like should I say tech savvy and stuff, so I was able to like get most of the information off the internet instead of like asking persons for that already on the internet and stuff. So that would save you a lot of time, and your go-to persons like will know that you have gotten this information online already. So like he just wants like a little bit more direction on guidance, maybe on your essays or maybe on like the interview process. So a lot of persons helped me out like with the drafting of essays, Augustina of Imperial College, Elvis, who finished from Teesside University, and who helped me for my Commonwealth. So Augustina and Stephen helped me for the essays and interview for Chevening. And although I didn't make the final shortlist, but I was grateful because like my essays like were the building blocks for the Commonwealth Shared application. Yeah, so I started the Commonwealth Shared application, and it went smoothly with Elvis giving me like back-to-back reviews and like meetings on Google Meet, so we could like work on the essays together, because he was actually the one that motivated me to apply. And also I applied to 3 schools, because in the Commonwealth scholarship, there are different scholarships under the Commonwealth. Let me start from there. So there is the Commonwealth Masters, there is the Commonwealth PhD, there is the Commonwealth Shared. Yeah, there's also the Commonwealth, I think one for low sites or something. So basically, I like, and yeah, distance learning too. A lot of persons got that too. There's the split side, which I said. Then there's also the professional fellowships. So I got the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, but what is currently on now is the Commonwealth Master Scholarship. That has to do with a nominating agency. So I think most of us here might be Nigerians. So like the nominating agency for the Commonwealth Masters Scholarship, that would be the Federal Scholarship Board in Nigeria. So you just have to apply on the website. Just check Commonwealth Master Scholarship, then you check the requirements. Basically, it's the requirements are about good academic standing, good essays, and all that. So before the end of this, I'll drop a link to a blank application form so you could see how the whole the essays you need to write. So I don't need to say much about that. So the essays you need to write and everything. So I have a blank application form here, and I'll send the link so you could download it on your device. So that being said, let me go back to the one I won, which is the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. So basically, aside your academic standing, it looks at your publications, your prizes, awards generally. These are things that shape your work experience, which you use to apply for the scholarship, and they give you a better standing than other applicants, than other applicants who are also applying for the same opportunity. So you are able to actually work hand in hand with someone who is going to review your essays, because that is very, very important. You cannot, I don't think there's anybody who has won a scholarship that just sent it, and except maybe the person must be an expert reviewer or an expert essayist.
So Dr. Okechukwu must have won it like that.
Yeah, because I am quite used to sending my essays out, because I know checking on Grammarly helps to correct most of the essay, let's say words and everything, maybe a comma or a full stop, or even the formation of the structure of the words you use. So I use that to correct some of these things before sending it to someone to review. So that could help you as well. Then the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship is just for master's program. It's not for a PhD. So if you want to apply for a PhD, you go for the Commonwealth PhD scholarship. So that is different from the Commonwealth Shared. So what's so unique about this Commonwealth Shared? Basically, it's just that the nominating agencies are the universities. So now the process is they are going undergoing a bidding, universities are bidding for the scholarship, and they need funding, who is going to play this part in your funding and all that. So once this process is done, applications will open and you'll be able to apply. So that's basically it about the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. Over to you, Tolu.
Thank you so much, Archibong Bassey, our MP scholar. All right, thank you so much. I hope our listeners are learning one or two things. So quickly, let me hand over to Dr. Okechukwu. Dr. Okechukwu is, don't worry, just, sir, over to you, sir.
Yes. Yeah, thank you, Tolu. So my name is Okechukwu. I'm a 2021-2022 Chevening scholar. A bit about myself. I'm a medical doctor by training. I worked in both public and private hospitals for a few years, let's say 3 years. After which I went fully into public health practice. Started with a short program in Rwanda, right, where we sort of worked on it was a Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation funded program in Rwanda. So where we tried to look at the use of design thinking or human-centered design in designing public health interventions, right, especially when you have a lot of people involved. So after that, I returned to Nigeria, continued with that work with Solina. Maybe one or two people may know about Solina. Solina is a management consulting firm in Nigeria, but specifically focused on public health programs and projects, right? So they're heavily funded by international donors such as World Bank, UKFCDO, USAID, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, MEC for others. There are many grantors. So I joined Solina, continued using human-centered design to sort of try to improve immunization coverage in northern Nigeria, after which I moved to another project, which was specifically on the maternal health project. And that was where I was before leaving Nigeria for my master's. So for the Chevening scholarship, the first time I heard about Chevening was, I think that was 2019. But I didn't pay much attention because I was very busy with my own personal stuff, right? Scholarship wasn't number 9 then. But when I joined Solina, right, I started working with Solina in 2019, December, right? So it turned out that a lot of people there were Chevening alumni, we're Chevening scholars and then alumni, right? So someone talked about it. The name sounded, I still didn't pay much attention, right? So until I think that was sometime in 2020 during the pandemic, right? So someone made mention, okay, Okechukwu, I think you should apply for Chevening scholarship, right? So I said, okay. So I started researching about Chevening scholarship and then got to learn that the next one was going to be around, that 2020 application was started in September, unlike the previous ones that started in August, right? So what I did, for me, I believe every information is out there on the internet, right? On Google, on YouTube, you can get all the information you need to, prepare for anything that you want to prepare. So I decided to research extensively on the Chevening scholarship. I combed through the entire website, went through all the pages, right? I read through all the interviews on blogs by past Chevening scholars who were interviewed and the interview published on the website. So when the application started, I was very busy with work. I was traveling between Abuja and northern Nigeria, northern Nigeria. So what I did was I decided to take each of so the major thing in the Chevening application is the essays, right? There are 4 essays: the leadership, networking essays, then your career plan, your study plan, and your career plan essays, right? So I decided to dedicate like 2 weeks to each of those essays. So what I did was every weekend I would research extensively on each of those essays. So if I started with, let's say, the leadership essay, I would just research extensively on every leadership stuff on the Chevening website, right? Interviews from past people who granted the audience to Chevening. And then I went to YouTube, just did some keyword searches on YouTube on Chevening leadership essays. There were so many videos from different parts of the world. So I tried to watch each of them. And then I designed a framework for myself, right? Based on what Chevening said, what they're expecting in the essays, right? I had to then develop a structure, a framework to write the essays. Yeah, I think one thing too is, I would say maybe in my own case, I've been writing for a very long time, right? I think I would say I've been writing for almost maybe 15 years now, right? Different kinds of writing. So it wasn't really a big deal for me to put together essays, right? And also based on my work, right? My work involved high level critical and analytical thinking and reasoning for you to come up with strategic interventions and other things. You have to present them to different audiences, both within and outside Nigeria. So those things really helped me a lot. So I didn't bother to ask anybody for guidance, right? Or to review my essays because I felt that, okay, I mean, I should be able to put up something that is okay. And another thing too was, it wasn't a do or die affair for me because I was doing a very interesting work in my field, right, at that time. So I was very relaxed. So I was like, okay, if I put in these essays and then I'm called for interview, fine. If I'm not called, I'll continue with what I'm doing. Maybe next time I will try. So this was how I went about each of the 4 essays. And then over a space of, I think, 6 weeks to 7 weeks, I was able to sort of finish all the essays. I left them, came back to them, reviewed them extensively again, made sure they were within the word limits, and then I submitted the application. So on the Chevening, right, you just need to, those 4 essays are key. Then you must have had at least 2 years of work experience. And this 2 years of work experience are made up of both voluntary, non-voluntary, paid and unpaid internship. As far I know a few people who got the Chevening Scholarship immediately after the NYSC, right? So if you're able to demonstrate that you've actually put in like 2,880 hours of work, right? I mean, you're eligible to apply for the Chevening Scholarship. So you apply, then for university selection, you are supposed to select 3 universities, right? And then 3 interrelated courses. So if you're interested in a health-related field, let's say in the life sciences, you have to ensure that the 3 courses are within the life sciences, right? If it's in public health or other healthcare management courses, you have to ensure that they are related, right? Then your universities, I think there are situations where you can choose the same course across 3 different universities. I think so, yeah. So then also you need your certificates and I think transcripts. Yeah, so these are the things I did, and then I submitted my application, right? And then I think this is like a high-level summary of my Chevening application, right? The process of applying for the Chevening scholarship. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Okechukwu. Quickly, guys, I just want to inform us, because of the limitations of Zoom, at about 40 minutes, at about, I think, 4:40, this meeting would end and we'll need to join in again. Still the same link, still the same everything, just join in again. I hope we are clear on that, please. We all have the link that you joined through. At about 40 minutes, the meeting would end, so please just join in back. We'll record and we'll continue when we stop. All right, so quickly, thank you very much for the introductions, Dr. Okechukwu and Archibong. The other scholar that is here is Dr. Samuel Oninku. So Dr. Samuel, you could just introduce yourself briefly, just introduce yourself briefly.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Dr. Samuel Oninku. I'm from Ghana. I completed medical school in 2019. And since then, I've been doing what we call housemanship for the past 2 years. And I just completed housemanship this year. So basically, that's what I've been up to. In medical school, I was involved in other things. And one of those things was social works and social interventions. Somewhere along the line, I think 2018, I won a D Prize award that funded a pilot project in maternal health. Yeah, so that's basically a summary of who I am and what I've been doing. And I'm so glad I won.
Sorry, we can't hear you, Dr. Samuel. Please, you need to unmute.
Yeah.
What did you lose me at?
Where you won E Prize.
Yeah, so somewhere along the line in medical school, I applied for a D Prize competition, and I won with my team. And so since then, finished medical school, did house job, and now thankfully I'm here for this master's to help me to further contribute to development in Ghana and everywhere else. So that's basically a summary of who I am. And I'm going to try to answer some of the questions you have about applying to the Commonwealth and the Chevening Scholarship today.
All right, thank you so much. So there you have it. You have 3 scholars there. My name is Dori Lokbaya Musa. I'm just fortunate to be a Chevening scholar, a medical doctor by training. Some of you here would know me, some don't. So basically what I've been doing, finished med school 2017, 18 thereabout, did house job, service, and all of that. Then during med school, I already knew that I was not going to practice clinical medicine. So it's kind of like informed my decisions during med school to be involved in, projects that had to do with public health. Then to even go away from Lagos to do my house job, that's internship in Ondo State, in a rural area, got involved with projects, also the research work and all of that, trainings. I was always involved with online trainings, online certifications, projects, anything that I could get my hands on that is different from clinical medicine. And, to the point that people around me knew that, okay, this guy is always doing projects, always doing anything that is online, is always online. So that was, I think, 2018 thereabouts. So I went for service also 2019, met some people there, did some work with them and all of that. Still was looking for an exit from clinical medicine and all of that. So I started asking questions from my colleagues that were doing things that I want to do. They were doing projects, and some of my seniors also that have gone outside of clinical medicine to work with organizations like APIN, like FHI and all of those public health organizations, Solina. And I was interested in how they took that part, how they left, seeing patients to running projects and running programs. I also reached out to some persons that I knew that got Chevening Scholarship, Erasmus Mundus Scholarship, Commonwealth Scholarships, and all of that, so that at least I know that one way out of clinical medicine is either for me to go for a master's in public health or to go for a master's in maybe healthcare management, or to get a public health job that will take me out of clinical medicine. So it was the year 2019, I think, 2019 now. Yeah, 2019. So I applied for my first Chevening scholarship. It was such a brilliant and wonderful experience. Got to the interview stage with the little information I had. It was my first attempt. So, yeah, somebody sent a message. Yes, that's correct. That's correct, but not Lutz. I was in Lasuth. So yeah, and from that experience, I know that, okay, yes, I needed more information about Chevening Scholarship. The project I was working on at that time was already over. So then I relocated back to Lagos to find something else doing, because I was done with service already. So because of the experience I had and the knowledge, the certifications that I've gotten and everything, I was able to apply for a public health role. Though it was during the time when the lockdown came in, coronavirus and everything. So I got a remote role instead of a hands-on role. So I was working then with one telemedicine company in Lagos. And, it was really, really such an interesting opportunity for me to work with that company then, because it exposed me to public health more, exposed me to healthcare operations. And that was actually what even informed my decision to come and study healthcare operational management in the University of Warwick. So beyond that decision, I knew that, okay, yes, I was not going to fund my studies myself, because how much was the doctor earning? Even with my jobs I was doing about 3 to 4 jobs. I was working as the Lagos State Healthcare Service Commission, working with the online telemedicine company I said, worked with another company online also. Then I was working as a research assistant at some point. So I was doing like 4 jobs then, but the finance was nowhere near what would fund a master's out of the country. So I looked at the Chevening Scholarship again. I knew that, okay, yes, it's just for me to put in more effort. I'm certain that whatever took me to the interview stage last year, because of my knowledge, my experience and everything, was going to take me back there and beyond. So I just did my research, did more research, studied my essays well, put up my essays together, sent them to those that I could share them with Dr. Okechukwu, my mentor here, and it was did some extra. Dr. Kujo, I'm not lying, though, I meant to. So I did some extra things, and so here we had today. So I thank God for the journey and everything, and I hope that from this little meeting we are going to have some people share their stories like this with others that are coming. There's something somebody said. He said that the scholarship niche in Nigeria, the scholarship community in Nigeria is very, 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 very small. And I think these other three guys would bear me witness that the scholarship community in Nigeria is quite small. I've met Dr. Okechukwu in person. I've met everyone I know these guys now, they're my friends. But aside from Dr. Okechukwu, myself and Dr. Samuel and Bassey, we got together like 2 months ago, thereabout, or maybe less. Do you understand? And there are persons that I know, that someone knows, that Bassey.
In terms of your recommender, or should I say the university applications that you're making, because for Commonwealth Shared, you apply to these universities and these universities nominate you. So apply to as much as you can. So because I was preparing for my Chevening interview, I couldn't apply to more universities. I only applied to 3 universities. And I was so lucky. I was so lucky that I got one out of the universities I applied to. Some people even apply to 10 and they do not even get any. So just still spread your wings. Don't be like Archibong that applied to 3. Apply to more universities as long as you have the time and they're offering your related courses. So my preparation process, as I've mentioned that earlier, meeting with go-to persons and mentors and, checking my essays. Then mental health issues like rejection. This is quite funny, but it's really something most people don't really talk about. So most of us here have faced rejections. Is it job offers? You've gone to 3 interviews. You could not get just the last interview and they said, no, we can't move with you anymore, and that's all. And you feel so devastated and it's like the whole world wants to end or something. So these are the trying times where you have to pick yourself up, because I am from Nigeria. I'm from a developing country. Best foot forward. You may not really have anybody to support you. So these are times you need to have as I said, scholarship committees or scholarship group, people that can motivate you. When you get that rejection, they motivate you to bounce back, to do better. I have such people around me, so it really helped me to know what and how I could help myself when these rejection mails come in, or otherwise known as love letters. So extracurricular activities, Tolu has mentioned that it's very important. Samuel has mentioned the importance of extracurricular activities in getting the scholarship. So from volunteering to community development, it plays a long way. It could even add as your work experiences. If you don't really have much work experiences, those extracurricular activities could add for you. Then, so for personal funding, someone was asking about that. I think you should really, really weigh your options and you should really check, because coming here, you may not really have a part-time job immediately when you come. I know there are some people who sponsor themselves throughout the part-time. They got part-time jobs and they were able to pay their education. Maybe they got loans and stuff. But really, it's something you really have to critically look into and know that, are you going to be able to surmount this challenge? Because there are times like this, waiting at home for isolation and everything. You're not going out. You're not going anywhere. So these are things you should look at. NCE graduates. There was a Commonwealth, a Chevening scholar. I don't know, Tolu or Okechukwu. There was a Chevening scholar who got the scholarship from Nigeria. I think she had HND or something.
Yes, that's correct. Yes. That's correct.
So that should not stop you from applying. Just check your school requirements. Do they accept that? when you're applying. So just check that, and it will help you to, make your decisions. Lastly, your references. Your references are very important. If it's possible to sit like with your recommenders, like while they're doing the the reference writing, please do. Or if they ask you to get drafts, please draft those things for them, because most times these people are busy persons, and like they may forget or it may skip their mind. They may not know how to write it exactly the way you may want it. So yeah, you could get the drafts for them, and they could edit and add some things, and submit for your scholarship application. So thank you so much. I think that's the bulk of my question.
All right, thank you so much, Bassey. Quickly, I'll be asking Dr. Okechukwu to just answer the questions with him.
Yeah, so there are quite more, but I just want to focus on the ones that were repeated, right? So there's a question here asked on 2 different occasions, whether the scholarship is for only doctors or it's only for health-related programs. No. For the Chevening Scholarship, I don't want to say almost every program, but I think quite a good number of programs, right? You just need to go to the website. You see the partner institutions and then the possible courses you can choose. That's one good thing about Chevening Scholarship. You can choose almost any program to study. So, and then it's left for you to apply for admission to that school, right? To then while applying for a Chevening Scholarship. So for the Chevening Scholarship, you don't need to have gotten admission at the point of submitting the application, right? So you still have until, so let's say for instance for this year, right? This year's application will close by next month, 2nd of next month, but you still have until July, I think June, right? Or July 16th of next year to submit, 16th of July next year to submit at least one unconditional offer from any of the 3 universities, right? Yeah. For this thing. So you don't need to be a doctor or be only focused on health-related programs to apply for the Chevening Scholarship. The other questions, there are 2 questions too, but they are related. That's the one that asked about what criteria would you advise one to use in identifying strong examples for leadership and networking essays? And the other one was, would it make sense to give one leadership example from undergraduates and stuff, right? So in terms of writing,
sorry, Dr. Okechukwu, you need to
please unmute yourself.
Okay. Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So the question around what examples should you sort of put forward in your leadership essay, right? And whether it makes sense to lift an example from your undergraduate years, right? I mean, there isn't one size fits all. So I would say for me, right, this is my own opinion. And I also want to reiterate that whatever we say here are our personal opinions. They don't represent the views of Chevening and the UKFCDU, so that maybe tomorrow someone will go and say, this is what we say, this is what Chevening. So these are purely our opinion. This is a disclaimer. So from my own personal opinion and experience, I would say it depends on how well you're able to articulate the examples, right? So for something around leadership, they're actually looking at, number one thing is you have to be very specific. I've seen quite a few essays, and then many people will just be dancing about the bush, giving generic defining leadership, maybe take like 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 lines to define leadership. I mean, it's okay to use one line, but they want to, they want you to be very specific, like in detail. So let me say, for instance, during your NYSC or while you were in school, you're a part of a student organization that led outreach. It may not be medical outreach. Let's say you went on education outreach. You went to one school, one primary school in one slum or community to do some outreach, talk to them about the needs for children to complete primary school education, right? So they really want you to show your personal contribution to that outreach. How was your contribution how did you contribute specifically to make that outreach a success? So maybe you can start with, I was the secretary, right? Or I was the finance coordinator for this outreach, and using my, and then I was able to sort of maybe reach out to some people in a sense to mobilize funding for this particular outreach, right? I was able to sort of meet the key stakeholder in this community who has been attributed to maybe preventing, being against maybe female children completing primary school and then going ahead to complete secondary school. I was able to talk to this person, followed up with this person. We had that. I understood his own perspective. I tried to sort of then continue a follow-on conversation with him until he started having a change of views. And this then translated into, you understand, his opinion changing. And then because a lot of people looked up to him, right? He changed the narrative in terms of female children going to school, in a sense, completing their primary school, completing their secondary school education. So this is an example of you being they want you to be very specific, give step-by-step process of how you were able to use your leadership position. So it may not be a position, it may just be how you're able to push for that change that led to something tangible in that particular stuff that you did. And again, it doesn't have to be very, some people can feel intimidated when they've not done so much. Again, impact is assessed on different parameters, right? Even if you've not done something that impacted, like, let's say, the whole of Nigeria, for instance, maybe it's in one small community, but your ability to actually touch on those specific points, right? Those drivers of change that led to impact in that community is a very important key factor that is being sought after in your leadership essays. So you can use an example from your undergraduate. In fact, in my own leadership experience, my first example was from my secondary school. I was the senior prefect.
Yeah, right? I remember that.
Exactly. But I was able to tell the story, like focus on one particular stuff that was really, really important and made the change in the school. You understand? That was my first example. So it doesn't really matter at what stage that leadership experience or this thing was, it doesn't matter the stage at which when you were able to demonstrate leadership. Your ability to capture it in those specific details, right, is what is very key. I think I will take one final one that is, there's a question on Chevening requires 2 years of work experience. What if the jobs you've done don't really fit with your chosen career path? Yeah, I mean, it's always good for you to apply to a program that is in alignment with what you've done, right? It will be very difficult for you to tell a good story if you apply for a program that does not align with what you've done, like, let's say, what you've done for the most part of your professional life, right? Because again, that means you have to be doing a lot of fiction, which even if you manage to scale through the application stage and then get invited for interview, it will be very difficult to convince the panel during the interview stage. So I will always advise, it may not be strictly, so let's say for instance, you studied something like sociology, right? But then you found yourself in computer science, in software development, where you now started learning programming, and then gone into ICT, joined a tech company, and you're building web applications and stuff. So you're now looking at, okay, you want to go and do a master's in software engineering or a master's in artificial intelligence, right? So it's a bit difficult to say, let's say you did sociology, and then you've done some, and then you want to go and do a master's in sociology. Sorry, not computer because they are not related. So you still want to go and do a master's in, say, psychology, or let's say psychology, sociology, anthropology, because that was what you studied, but your work experience is different from that. You can still link these things up. It's all about doing research, right? The way the world is now, everything is interrelated. So most projects depend on interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary teams to be able to actually succeed, to achieve all their end results. So how do you now marry psychology or sociology, anthropology with software development? if you go deeper into software development, there are different, and psychology comes in when you talk about user interface and user experience, right? There are areas in psychology where I think they call it human-computer interaction, where psychology is very, very important. So it's all about doing research. So there's always a connection. So I would say if you can't follow the same program path that is similar to your career path, then you can find a way to research and then make that connection. So try to look at links, how whatever you're trying to now study at your master's level relates to what you've done for the most of your career. So that's what I can sort of advise for that particular context. So I think these are the key questions here. Maybe if I can get a minute or two to address one more question. And that question is, I think is this, okay.
Or should we just come back?
Yeah,
okay.
The role of CGPA, right? For Chevening, your CGPA doesn't really matter, right? As far as, in fact, I know someone that had a 2-2 and got the scholarship. In fact, from previous cohorts, right? What Chevening is looking at is your ability to, I mean, you're not an expert. Maybe you left university like 3, 4, 5 years ago. You've done some spectacular stuff in your career path. So your CGPA should not define you. So if you're able to demonstrate across those 4 essays that you've done something wonderful, I mean, you most likely get selected for the interview, right? So your CGPA is not a barrier to you not this thing. The key thing in that application is those 4 essays. I mean, to be honest, even your references for Chevening is just for formality's sake. Your references does not contribute to the scores either in your application, right, or even in assessing you after the interview. So they just want to see that someone can speak on your behalf. That's why you're asked for a reference, right? The major thing is in those 4 essays. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Okechukwu. Quickly, Dr. Samuel.
All right. Hello. So I have one question here. Asking, how do I stand out? Or what's the scholarship board looking for in an ideal scholar? So about the Chevening Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, the good thing is that they have not just 4 essays that you have to write. They have like so many essays, about 10 or so, focusing on separate areas. So like you have to stand out in each specific area. You can't just start out in one area and then leave the other areas like being average or so. So like I would like to go through some of the questions that they asked and how you can go about trying to stand out with each question. So they ask you, how does your study relate to development goals or connected to the wider sector? So over here, you're supposed to know about your course. If you don't know about your course or you just have like a surface knowledge, you'll not be able to like explain why your course is needed for you or how you can use your course to make change. So for example, my course is a course in healthcare operational management. So you have to relate to how probably there are deficits in your country's management of healthcare with numbers. Like you have to back it up with numbers from your research. You have to look through what's happening in your country right now and back it up with numbers, and then look at how your course, probably through the course profile, you can go and read your course profile, how your course profile goes around those problems or try to help you to overcome those problems. So that's the first part. And they also ask you how you intend to apply your skills when you get home. So one thing I have to mention about the Commonwealth Scholarship is that, and then Chevening also, they expect you to go back to your country or where you're coming from to make the change over there. So that's one thing you have to keep in your mind. So for the various courses you're going to apply for, how does what you learn in the course help you in your workplace or with your plans for the future to make a change or to help bring development where you're coming from? So for example, if you're somebody who is like into healthcare like I am, and you're a doctor, and probably you want to see a change in how maybe emergencies are managed or the ED is managed, right? So your course maybe is in management and the management sector. So you have to like explain how probably if you learn more management skills in your course, it will help you to improve service delivery at the emergency department. So in that way, you're given like, you're not just mentioning things like generically or like theoretically, actually giving practical solutions in your essays, backed with facts and figures, something of the sort. Another way you can stand off with your essays is to mention your previous experiences and probably how they relate to your future goals and aspirations. So as Okechukwu said, it's harder when probably you have no experience in the area you want to go into after your studies. So let's say, for example, you want to go into health management or public health. What's in your previous life shows that that's what you want to, like you've been doing all this while, you want to move in all this while. Have you been volunteering with some public organizations? Do you have any experiences in that field? So you have to highlight these areas in your essays. Also, leadership skills. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It's about how you tell your story. It could be about your school preparership in your junior high school. It could be as far back as that, but it's about how you tell your story, how you made an impact, how you made some changes in your school. It's about how it's not really, it shouldn't be something too big. It's about how you relate to the story, how you relate the story to other people who are going to read your essays. Another thing is about, obviously, if you want your essays to stand out, you should have measurable goals. So they'll ask you, what do you expect to achieve with your studies? So you should have measurable goals. You should know what you are aiming to achieve with what you're going to study. It's not about, I'm applying so I can leave my country. These scholarships are like meant for people who are going to make changes. It's not really about academic brilliance. It's about what you plan or aim to do. So these are all things to look at in making your application stand out among all the many others that go to the boards. Another question I have over here is, what if I don't have any past experience in social work or drive for any of the SDGs? So for these scholarships, they are focused. They are mainly focused to the SDGs or making development happen where you are from. So if you're not looking to do these things, it's very hard for your application or your application to go any far or any further in this process. But then the other scholarships available if you're not looking to doing development programs or stuff like that. There are school-specific scholarships that you can look to apply for. But then for these Chevening and then Commonwealth, they mainly look at development, and that's where you should be focusing on. Another question I have over here. Where is this? So someone is asking, I want to apply for a PhD straight from the first degree. So for the Commonwealth PhD scholarships, I think having a master's would be preferable for that if you're applying, to give you the edge in your application. I don't know if you don't have a master's, if your application will be turned down, but then you can always try. As Okechukwu said, someone won the Chevening scholarship with an HND. So I mean, let's give it a shot. You never know what will happen. I think that's about all for my questions.
All right, sir. Thank you so much, Dr. Samuel. Please, guys, don't forget, in case the meeting ends, you can always join back with the link, but we'll soon be done, actually. So I'll just answer some questions. Thank you so much, everyone. The answers to the questions have been detailed, and I think has covered most of the questions that we have. We got so much entries, but then we can't answer everything. Some are repeated questions, some are links to each other, so we just kind of like attached, we kind of like answered them together. And then others I've noticed, like Dr. Okechukwu mentioned, and I think everyone actually said it, require you to do your own research. Please and please, if you notice that any question was not answered, maybe your question was not answered by any of the speakers, just know that what you're looking for is on one of those websites, either the Commonwealth scholarship website or the Chevening website. So if you need any information about Chevening scholarship, it's on chevening.org. If you need any information about Commonwealth Scholarship, just go to Commonwealth Scholarships. So just Commonwealth Scholarships on Google. So you're going to find everything you need. So the question I was going to answer was that how can one select universities to increase chances of being selected? I don't know if you are a Commonwealth applicant or Chevening applicant, but I'm just talking about this. I'll just address this question generally now for everyone. If you're applying to any opportunity in life, my way of application is, should I say, tailored application. So that is how I apply for everything I want. So if I'm going to write my CV, for instance, now I'm applying for, say, a role with a health tech company, you are going to see me writing all my health and tech experience in it. If I'm applying for maybe a public health role that does not have to do with tech, I would weigh in on my public health experience as against tech. If I'm applying for a clinical role, I'll weigh in on my clinical experiences as against tech or public health. So in 10 minutes time, this meeting is going to end. Please, you guys, just notice so that in case you still have the link, join with the link when it ends. So as I was saying, for whatever you want to do, if you want to apply to schools, you want to apply to Chevening, you want to apply to Commonwealth, you want to apply to any opportunity, jobs, roles, anything, internship, anything, please make it tailored. So how do you make things tailored? That's just the answer to your question now. So first, you have to find out information about those who are going to give you that opportunity. So if you're applying to Chevening, find out about Chevening. Know what Chevening is. You can't be sending a scholar message, hello, please, what is Chevening? I've been hearing about this Chevening thing. What is Chevening? No, you can't do that. You have to go ahead, go on Google, go on Google, YouTube, just put in it, Chevening, Commonwealth Shared. Do you understand? Like, put in the search, put in your own research. You are going to find plenty information about it. You can't be applying to a job and you don't know who the CEO is. You don't know who when the company started operations. You don't know where they are located. It's not possible. So please and please, if you are applying to any scholarship, you need information about those opportunities generally now. So please go on Google, look for information, and you would always find. Somebody said that the information might be wrong. No, at least, even though it's wrong information, have it. Verify these things with verified websites. Definitely, you're going to see a verified website that has security and all of that. So you can be sure you're not getting false information. And for scholarships, there's really nobody that's giving fake scholarship. So there's nothing like fake scholarship, really. I don't know have you talked about anything like fake scholarships? I don't think so. Maybe scam websites for scholarships. I don't know. I don't think so. So please, you would always find information online. So find all the information that you can get for the opportunities that you're looking for on those websites. So, and how do you then now make yourself the right candidate to be chosen for these opportunities? Simply, when you look out for the information, you've known what the company is about, or what the opportunity is about, what the scholarship is about, the body organizing them, their leaders, their alumni, the people that are getting it, the people that have gotten it, and you've seen what they have done, you can put in their names. You see, okay, like now, say in the next few months, Dr. Okechukwu is going to be doing some great things in, London and everything. And Chevening will be so proud. They will put his name on the Chevening website. Okechukwu Amako is leading management consulting in London. You understand? You can just go to websites. You would see alumni, Chevening alumni on the website there. Just put their name in LinkedIn. You would see their profile. You would see the things that they've done. You would see the opportunities that they've in fact, Archibong Bassey is here. Just put Archibong Bassey on LinkedIn. You are going to be surprised. You will see the things that the great man has done with, you know, understand. So that is the way to go. Those are the things that you can do also. You can talk about being involved in social projects and all of that. Bassey is involved in social projects, Dr. Okechukwu is involved, Dr. Samuel is involved, myself, I'm involved. You understand? So those are the things that you can do that would make you more eligible. So find information. There was this scholarship that I was looking for. I think it was AIG scholarship. So I went to AIG. I did not get it because I did not meet the requirements of something. So it was for public policy, yes. So I was not really interested in it again. But then when I was looking for it, I went to the website. I saw the past scholars for 4 years, and I used their names. I put in their names in LinkedIn, checked all of them, all their profiles. For those that I did not see, I did not bother. But for those that I saw, I checked, I sent them emails on LinkedIn, reached out to them. Those that responded, fine. Those that did not respond, I moved on. Do you understand? So please reach out, find information. When you get information, then tailor yourself to that. So if it is that you're going to volunteer for an opportunity, you're going to look for internship, you're going to get a certificate, you're going to do some work, you're going to get some knowledge, do it and make yourself the right candidate for such opportunities. Then also use YouTube. YouTube has links, YouTube has videos, has everything. Those, you just type how to win Chevening Scholarship, put it on YouTube, you're going to find videos. How to win Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, put it on YouTube, you'll find videos for it. How to win anything in this life, how to get opportunities, how to write CV, how to write personal statement, how to write anything. Put it on YouTube, put it on Google, you would get an information. So I think with that, I think I've answered the question of how to tailor how to make yourself stand out for how can one select universities to increase one's chances of being selected. Also, for universities particularly, so what I did for my university was this. We have 4 minutes left. I'll just quickly wrap up for this, then we'll join in so that we can now take questions that are here and we'll end the meeting. So for universities, basically universities in the UK or anywhere apart from Nigeria now, are really, and maybe Africa generally, like apart from Africa, universities are looking for students that are excellent already. Dr. Okechukwu and the rest can bear witness. They are looking for students that are excellent already, first class graduates or not. Chevening doesn't really bother. But then they are looking for students that are excellent, that have that drive to learn, and they are willing to learn. And they are looking for how to then make them theirs, how to make them their students. Because they know that this person has the potential to be successful. If this person succeeds, we want to be part of this person's story. That is what UK universities are looking for. So what you need to do for UK universities to get your admission into those schools is to be the person that they are looking for, to portray yourself as somebody who is interested in learning, who has been interested in doing things that are useful to this world, that are useful to social projects, somebody who is not just coming to school to come and pass exams or whatever. Somebody that is a change agent, somebody that is passionate about learning and all of that. So you must first have knowledge of the school. You must know where the school is. You must know what the school is doing. You must know what the school is doing in the world. You must know who the important people in the school are, who your lecturers are, what they are doing, what research project they are working on. You must also know what are the learning objectives of your course. You must know what you want to learn. It's not like Nigeria that you are going to study computer science and you don't even know what computer is. No. In the UK, in the US, you must know what your learning objectives are. You can't come to school and not know what you're going to learn. Then how do we know if you've learned anything? That's what they are going to be looking at. So they would ask you. I did an interview before getting my admission, and I know Dr. Samuel must have done the same. So, at that interview, you are going to tell the course leader and everything. You're going to prove to the course leader that, yes, you actually know what you're coming to learn, and you are just coming there to learn those things. And what are you going to use it for after you even finish? Because they want to be sure that, okay, this is going to be one of the maybe top healthcare operational managers in the world, and then we can be proud to say, yes, it's our product. So you must show that you've ransacked the website of your school, you've checked for the modules, you know everything, you know what you're going to learn, you know the research you're working on. You found ways to incorporate yourself into those of their project. Maybe some of their projects, you can say, okay, I'm going to work with this person on this project. I'm going to work with this person because this person's project is similar to what I'm doing in my country. This is similar to what I'm doing in my state. This, that. So all of those things makes you who they want to teach. It makes you who they want to teach. It's simple. It's just simple. If you see a willing student, there's no one that would not want to teach that student. So that is how the UK universities are really. So in less than 1 minute, this meeting is going to close. So I'm going to end this here now. Please rejoin. You all have the links. Please rejoin now. Let me end this so we rejoin. All right. So we are going to join back, and we're just coming for questions and answers, and we're going to end. Yes.
Yeah. So the Ivy League schools in the UK, they are known as the Russell Group of schools, right? So there are many of them. Just like we don't know, just like the all the Ivy League schools in the US are not that popular except Harvard and basically Harvard, Princeton. Yeah. Exactly. So there are many of them. So most schools within the University of London group institutions are Ivy League universities, right? For Oxford and Cambridge, it's based on your course. So for instance, for my own course now, right, public health for development, where I applied is the best in the UK, right, and is number 3 best in the world. So there was no need for me to go to Oxford, right, and when that course, the way I wanted it, is not offered by Oxford University or Cambridge University, right? So again, in terms of applying, personal statement or statement of purpose is very important. And this is where you are going to capture and crystallize all the information you've gotten from what Tolu said about combing through the website, researching about the institution, the faculty in the program that you want to do. Also, it will be very important if you have some rough idea. If you have some rough idea on the kinds or a topic that you want to even explore during your program as your dissertation, right? It puts you to the front. All the application I made, right? I actually listed like 1 or 2 potential research topics I wanted to explore as my master's dissertation, right? And then I linked it to what I was doing prior to my application, and then also showed how I'm going to build upon that, and then use it to make impact when I return to Nigeria. So when you do this, right, they know, anybody reading through your personal statement will know that this person knows what he or she wants out of this program. Yeah. You understand? And most likely they will not deny that admission. When I got my admission within 2 weeks, I applied to London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, right? I got it within 2 weeks because I had to, and every school has their own what they're looking for in the personal statement. So it's also very good, especially for countries. Let me say, I won't say every school, countries now. So for UK schools, there's a format for their own personal statement. I got those information on YouTube. Yes. Initially, I had the generic knowledge of writing personal statement, but when I wanted to learn how to apply to London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, I went to YouTube to just look at videos on personal statement for UK universities, the structure. Even for my own course, it required that you must have at least 2 years of work experience. So there's a difference between academic CV. Your CV is also very important for some schools. So there's a difference between professional CV and academic CV. So I had to also research on that and structure my CV, particularly for this school. You understand? So it's all about research, and every single information you can ever think of is available online. You understand? But the key thing is that you have to be very specific, right? Go down to the details of what you want out of that program, how the information you've gotten is going to help you, what your plans are immediately you finish that program. Once you're able to capture all of that, you most likely get admission to any school that you apply to.
Yes. Yeah, that's correct. Thank you so much, Dr. Okechukwu. All right, so I think, is there any other question? Is there anyone that asked questions? Somebody said he asked question for me. Daniel Elakpa. Daniel Elakpa, please unmute your mic and ask your question, please.
Okay. Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Tolu?
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah. My name is Daniel. Thanks for putting together this this program. Really appreciate it. Specifically, I just want to ask a few questions about how you tackled your second Chevening interview. What specifically did you change? Were you able to get a feedback on your previous interview? So for me, I attended the interview last year, and this year, in the last round, and was not selected after the interview. So I just want to find out, was there any specific thing you had to change? And then another thing is, I was working on my essays today and I decided to run into plagiarism, and it showed me red flag that my work has plagiarism. So I don't know. I think it's because I've submitted the essays before, or some part of the essays before, and then it's showing plagiarism. So
Right.
what do you think?
All right, thank you very much for your question. So yeah, I applied in 2019, like I said, then got to interview stage, applied again 2020 and got selected. So yeah, so what I did differently was this. I got feedback. There's this feedback, since you said you applied, there's going to be a feedback that you're going to get from Chevening.
Yeah, I've filled the feedback form. They sent me, the mail they sent me is quite generic.
No, it's not. Yeah, it's not going to be personal to you actually. So it's a general feedback form. Sorry, please mute your mic as you join, please. It's a general feedback form that you're going to get, and it's going to show what some applicants did that did not get them selected, what they did not do that would have gotten them selected, and all of those things. So you can just look at it. You are not going to get personal feedback. Don't let me lie to you. You won't get personal feedback. So, but for me, I use that feedback to assess my interview. So I looked at what I did wrong at the interview, and I worked upon it, and it came out better. But some other things that I did was that. So I was going to study masters in public health before, and I looked at some of the examples that I gave, the experience I had as at that time. It was not enough. It was not enough really. That was just it. So then what I did was that this was 2020, mid 2020 now, yes. So the result came out June, July. So in 2020, during the pandemic, I said during the yes, it was during the pandemic now, despite the NSAS and all the rubbish that happened in Nigeria. I looked out for opportunities that were tailored towards public health. So it was in 2020 that I started working with the health tech company in Nigeria. And I was So I looked out for health tech company in Nigeria, started working with them as head of operations. Looked out for another health tech company that was online. I was working remotely with that one, did a research project with somebody else and all of that. So I did quite a lot of other things that would increase my chances of being selected. Do you understand? I worked on projects with people, worked on publications and all of that, which I knew that, okay, yes, I don't think I had some of these things before applying the previous year. So, and I'm sure that some of those things would have pushed me ahead. You understand? Just like Bassey said, look for volunteer opportunities, look for projects that you can work on, look for things that are social good, because let me not lie to you, the UK is really, really very, very big on social projects. The UK is a socialist country. They are always looking out for their citizens. They're always looking out for the countries in the Commonwealth region. So in fact, the Commonwealth and the Chevening Scholarship, a lot of people have been asking, do you need to come back to your country? Please, you have to come back to your country. In fact, see, for Commonwealth Scholars, they know that the day you are finishing your course, I don't think it's up to a week. I'll be Bassey. I don't think it's up to a week.
Highest you could stay is
they give you up to 4 weeks.
1 month.
Oh, yeah, 1 month. Okay, 1 month.
1 month. So like immediately you are done with your program, like
You are going back.
You are going back.
You understand?
Yeah.
So and the thing is, it's not about just going back. So the idea is this: scholarships are not these opportunities, particularly for the UK, are not really for you.
For Japa.
For Japa, yeah. They're not for Japa. They're not for Japa. See, guys, they're not for Japa. Like, they're for you to, because Dr. Okechukwu will be able to witness, there are stuff that you are going to write in your Chevening essays that shows that you're coming back to your country to come and become the next big thing. You're coming back to your country to come and develop. You're coming back to, that's why you will see that Chevening, there's something I used to say. Chevening, sorry, you are a Nigerian. You are studying international development. You are going to University of Sussex. Chevening, you will get Chevening. Am I lying, Dr. Okechukwu? The Chevening community, that three things: Nigeria, international development, Chevening. I'm sorry, Nigeria, international development, and Sussex. In Chevening, like is one of like the biggest connections. Like, that community is so big in the University of Sussex. So a lot of people are going to study international development. They are going to the University of Sussex. Chevening, they'll just get like what the, so
yeah. So okay.
So really, it's not really that maybe that's like the only course that you can get in University of Sussex, but then it's because Sussex is #1 in development studies. So and you know, those people actually like have stuff that they are going to do and all of that. So please tailor your essays. Make yourself look out for things that you think did not should I say like stood against you. Do you understand? Like, if it's a leadership essay, if maybe you are not confident in delivering your essays, like maybe you were just probably reading them out. I'm not saying that's the problem, but you know, it could be that.
Yeah, so can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, let me just come in here too,
Okay.
right? So I mean, his question was, he got to the interview stage, right?
Yes.
So I think one problem a lot of people have is usually when you're asked, okay, Chevening is looking for people who will be able to sort of leverage the leadership experience to make impacts in Nigeria. Can you give us an example? That's a typical interview question, or it could be, can you tell us how you leverage your leadership qualities or skill set to sort of make impacts in Nigeria when you're done with your program? So in this case, sometimes most people would have practiced with an example of what they did in the past. So they get stuck, right? When they come to the interview and they're not asked how they will apply that. So it's usually better to practice or to prepare for all scenarios. You understand? Yeah, talk about extensively what you've done in the past as a leader, but also find a way, even in your essays. I usually encourage that. I think I will sort of, maybe before we finish, just run down like a quick run of each of the essays, right? So even in your essays, after you've given like 1 or 2 or 3 examples max of your leadership, qualities, right? Please, can someone, Engineer Abu, can you mute your mic, please?
Abu Anif, please mute your mic.
So once you've given your examples, it's also very important to link to now say, okay, when I get to the UK, right, say something, maybe in the University of so, there's a group so, I'm going to contest for so, I'm going to use it to do so, and then so that when I return to Nigeria, return to my organization, I want to take up this position. There's a corporate social responsibility in my work that my organization does. I want to be part of that CSR organization, be in this position, help that CSR unit to achieve social objectives. You see how you've been specific. So if you're able to do that in your essay, it helps you to even answer that question of how would you leverage on your leadership experience and qualities that you would have obtained or gained while in the UK to make an impact when you return to your country, right? So those are the questions that can throw some people off balance during the interviews, right? And also try to always use I. So people can say we. I was in this group unit in my organization. We had this project, we did this. They don't care about those things are nice, but that's not what the interviewers, panelists are looking out for. They're looking for what you did within that group. So you always use I did this, I did that. Okay, I was a member of social unit in my organization, right? So a problem came up, which required us to sort of maybe mobilize resources across all units. So I was appointed as so person. So I had to first of all develop a work plan, develop a strategy. I met with the social person, the head of social units. You mentioned the name of that person, right? Always so that your story is very realistic. Sometimes you can say a lot of things without giving details, and they will think you're just telling them fiction. So always mention names. So who you met at every stage, the name of the person, the what's it called now, the position or role of that person. In my own case, one of them had a tablet and was Googling those names as I was mentioning them. One of them is a medical doctor, has MBA, MPH, and one program I talked about that my admission was part of. He was on the panel, board of the UK, because it was funded by the UK FCDO Lafayette program, £200 million. When I mentioned this, I didn't know that this guy was on that panel. I went into details of the program, talked about how I supported.
You
understand? So you have to be very, very detailed and mention the names of these people and their roles, so that if they go and cross-check, they'll find out that you're not telling stories. You understand? And also, step-by-step process, try to also link your stories, make it flow from one point to another, right? So let your last story build, let your subsequent stories build on your last one for each of those block questions. So on leadership, you can give one example, but let your second example build upon what your first example. So, and show growth, right? So maybe if you led a project in a small organization, find a way to link how that leadership quality made you to get led you to a higher position, maybe in the same organization or in another organization, and also build on that. So, and then also, I will keep on saying this, make mention of names of people you come across, their positions, you understand? If possible, find things in the UK that the UK government has interest in, and find a way to connect, say, you're going to bring this back to Nigeria, and say it will help foster the relationship between the UK government and Nigeria. So these are the key things that I think these guys are looking out for both in your essays and your interviews that will stand you out.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And also, to add to what Dr. Okechukwu has said, guys, you cannot afford not to do stuffs. Like, you can't afford not to do stuffs. Like, you want to apply for a scholarship, you have to do stuff. Like, you have to have done stuffs. Do you understand? Like, you have to have started something. Because the thing is, you want to talk about leadership and you've not led. It's not possible now. Like, you will get stuck. If you've not led, if you've not networked with people, if you've not influenced people, you will get stuck. So, I just did quiet. Me, if I did one place, I know they like talk. I could just do my own JJ. No, do you understand? Like, no, you can't afford to do that. So
yeah, okay. And again, it may not even be maybe you're the head of one department or the head of one unit or the owner of an NGO or a non-profit organization. No matter the position you are in, you can always exercise some leadership qualities, right? It could be that maybe you're even the least ranked person in that role, but something came up. Like in my own, one of the examples I gave, or the major example, was a project I was on across 3 states, a multi-million-dollar project. I was just a senior program analyst. There were program managers, there were project directors, and this particular decision needed to be made. The funders were asking us to go in one direction. Everybody was going in that direction. I refused, I drew from my clinical experience as a medical doctor. If you go this way, it will not work. So I had to then go develop a strategy, do some modeling, you understand, bring data to actually paint the different scenarios. If you follow this step, it won't work. If you follow this step, it may work. After I went through all these processes, you understand, everybody saw the numbers and we are convinced. So you can imagine how someone in that lower position was able to influence even decisions at the highest level that affected the fate of 3 states in Nigeria. So that's how to paint your impact story in any of those questions, right? So you mustn't have occupied the highest of positions before you can be a leader or show leadership qualities.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So guys, is there any other question that we have? Is there any other persons? I know we've been answering some questions in the chat box. But then if there's any other questions.
While we wait for questions, I said I want to take a good run for, I've touched on the leadership essay, right? And even the interview. So for the networking essays, right? And questions, so I think it's still the same thing. So first of all, I would say use a framework. So for me personally, right, I would say look at all the times in your life where you've met people that led you to something greater in life. An example of networking, right? So you could even come within your, why we are demonstrating your leadership quality. As you are sort of making those leadership marks, right? You met some people, you understand? Those people you met that helped to achieve some of those things are an example of your, networking ability. So for instance, you could say that, you could even start from connecting with someone online via LinkedIn or Facebook, right? You understand? So for me, one example I gave was, it was one forum way back in 2015, 2014, where a tech forum online, where I was an active member. You understand? There are some prominent guys in Nigeria in the Nigerian tech scene who also used that forum. So someone was looking for someone to come and join them in their tech company, health tech company. And I sent that person a private message. And then that was how we went offline, exchanged contact, and started talking. And I got to start working with that person. And through my work in that organization, I also met other key people in the tech community in Nigeria, in the broader tech community in Nigeria. And those things built up to even contributing partly to me being selected for that Gates Foundation funded program in Rwanda. So you've seen how the story is very chronological. It started from one point and then led to a higher position and led to a higher position. And I was mentioning the names of these people, right? What I did, I exchanged numbers with them. We met in person, we discussed, I gave them ideas of what I think they can do to make this part of their organization better. And then they hired me, right? So this is how to actually structure your essays, show these connections, right? And then build upon it. Anybody reading your essays will then see the flow. Then for your networking, you can also now, once you've given your maybe 1 or 2 or 3 examples, you can then see, okay, going to the UK, for instance, I discovered, like in my own case, I'm interested in human-centered design in public health. So I took some online courses where the UK Design Council, one of the projects we actually worked on was something that the UK Design Council had done. And I said, once I get to the UK, I would love to sort of volunteer with the UK Design Council, right? And this will help to foster relationships between the UK government and Nigeria. I also made mention of how I sent a connection request to someone at Last Mile Health, because one of the things I want to do when I come back to Nigeria is related to human resource for health. And I was saying that I was going to sort of follow up on this guy. I've told him what I want. I'm going to the UK for my master's and this, and I hope to work with him later in the future when I return to Nigeria. And I mentioned the name of the person, the role the person occupies, and the name of his organization, right? That's for your networking essay. For your, I think your leadership and networking essays are interlinked. Then your study plan and career plan essays are also interlinked, right? So for your study plan essay, they can ask you anything. They can focus on the 3 universities and ask you, why did you choose each of these 3 universities? But for the essays, right, you have to write on why you chose each of these 3 universities. Some people can start with, I think it's becoming a cliche where I chose this school because it's the social rank school in the world or in the UK. I didn't even say any of those things, right? What I did was I said, for instance, for one of my first choice school, I think my first choice school was, LSHTM, right? I said I chose LSHTM because of its impact in the public health, research, and development community in the world, right? And why did I choose this school? Because most of its faculty members have experience working in low and middle income countries, right? And I'm interested in this particular course because it's focusing on low and middle income countries. And I made mention of one or two lecturers who have done some work in this in that particular in low and middle income countries. I also talked about how, based on my own professional experience in Nigeria, I mentioned one potential research topic I wanted to explore as my dissertation. I talked about how that dissertation, how I'm going to build upon it once I return to Nigeria to actually effect a change where there's a gap currently that I have discovered while working in Nigeria. So I did this for each of the 3 universities. You can also go on to now put in some, if you still have space for if you have not exceeded the word limit of 500, you can go ahead to say, okay, beyond the classroom, maybe I'm interested in, like for someone like me, I could say, I love classical music. So I hope to visit the Royal Albert Hall in London to watch the London Philharmonic Orchestra, right? I want to visit maybe where J.R.R. Tolkien, the author of The Lord of the Rings, was born. You understand? Because I love.
I'm saying you want to go and play. You want to go and watch football in
football,
Manchester,
exactly. So that's for this is your study plan. They want to see that you are an expert already. You understand? And then demonstrate your expertise. Your expertise will come out in how you're able to actually see what you want to get out of what you plan for your studies, right? And what you want to even get at the end of the day, and then go back to your home country. Then for your career plan, everybody should know this by now. You have your short-term career plan, your intermediate term, and then your long-term career plan. You can choose any duration for each of these. For me, I chose, my short-term was within the first 3 years of my return to Nigeria. The intermediate term plan was 3 to 5 years. And then for my long-term career plan was beyond 5 years, right? So I started with saying that, I'm already a public health professional, right? So based after my studies in the UK, you understand? First of all, I mentioned 3 organizations I'm interested in that I want to work with. I mentioned the specific role I'm after. I mentioned how I'm going to now use what I have, what I've learned in the UK, my research dissertation, to say, okay, I'm going to sort of turn it into something that can then lead to a big project that we can even pitch to the UK FCDO for funding. You understand? And these are the key objectives we are looking to achieve through such an intervention. You understand? For my intermediate plan, I talked about other things, my extracurricular interests, how I want to actually have my own establishment. I made mention of what the problem was, you understand? And then how I intend to also leverage on my skill set from my studies in the UK, from having worked with one of these 3 organizations that I mentioned for my short-term plan, to build upon this particular stuff, and then mention that gap I want to address with it. And then for my long-term plan, it could be anything. Maybe I want to go and get a PhD, or I want to go and get an MBA. And then after that, I want to use that knowledge to maybe start my own organization, you understand? And then offer social services to address social needs, you understand? So, and in each of these things, I keep on mentioning again, be very specific. Mention the names and the places. If you give an example of a place you went to, mention the name of that place, what state and what LG and local government that place is in, you understand? If you meet any person, no matter the level of that person's level or role or rank, mention their name, mention their roles, you understand? Mention the year, if you mention the month. These things give credibility to your story and make it very realistic, you understand? And also, for your career plan, I've been hearing STAR approach, where it's very realistic, you understand? Don't say I want to become, my long-term plan is to become the president of Nigeria. Some people can say that, or, it's good to dream very big. Even if you want to say, I want to become the DG of WHO, your short-term and intermediate term, plans would have shown how you are building up to work towards that long-term plan. You understand? So don't just say, I want to do this, I want to do that, without for each of those 3 stages, without building up on it from your previous examples. Right? So I think I will stop here now, if there's still any additional questions before.
All right. Thank you so much. So guys, that's for Chevening, actually, that's for Chevening. I would give Samuel the floor to speak on Commonwealth. I think you have spoken like on Commonwealth too. You mentioned about Commonwealth, right, Dr. Samuel?
I did.
Yes, yeah.
I spoke.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I spoke about how your essays
Yes.
should
Yeah,
focus on your goals, like measurable goals,
yeah.
tangible ones. Like don't just speak in general terms.
Yes.
What do you want to do? You want to work for organization A after you come back to your country.
Yeah.
What do you want to achieve with organization A? Like mention tangible goals. Don't just be general.
Yeah.
Be focused. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. So Okoye, please, what's your question? I've seen your hands up.
Okay. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I just wanted to I'm seeking for clarification, sir. With regards to the reference letters, is there any specific document type in which they are supposed to be before you send them or you submit the application? And also, you talked about the leadership essays. Like, what is the amount of say examples that one can actually give to lay emphasis on some of the things they have done in the community? Thank you very much, sir.
Is it for the Chevening or Commonwealth?
For Chevening, sir.
Okay.
Okay, so for reference, you said the document type. I think.
Is there any document type? Yes, sir.
That's are you asking? Is it PowerPoint? Is it PDF or docs?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I think for all documents you are going to submit for any application, really, I think PDF is like the standard, right? Like PDF is like standard for any document so that it won't be tampered with. It's just easy. Like, do you understand?
Yeah. I think PDF, but also like in one of my own reference letters, it came from the military, so they didn't even send me. They had to.
Yeah.
They printed it and scanned it and they sent it to me. So I had to send that scanned, printed copy. So it made it more legitimate because anybody can write PDF and what is PDF and stuff.
That's also true.
Yeah, but as far as it's a reference letter, PDF should work perfectly well. So it should be in PDF. Yeah.
PDF works, or you get the. I think for my school too, I got one letter from my lecturer. So it was a hard copy. She sent it, she dropped it already. So I just scanned and uploaded. But then when I was uploading in PDF. It was obvious that this is a scanned letter. You would have seen it as a scanned letter.
Including your essays, sir. Including your essays, right? The four essays.
No, your essays will be typed into Chevening's portal.
Okay,
your essays will be typed into Chevening's portal. Yeah. So that answers your question.
Yeah. So for your essays, right? Just do all the preparation, drafting in your Word documents. Make sure they are within the 500 word limit. You understand? Then go to the portal. So I would advise I believe everybody here who is applying to Chevening, right, would have started the application. So you may not have written your essays. Just there are other parts of the application that you can fill up. Those ones, yes or no. Tick all those ones. Then come back. You can always log in to complete the application. So once you are satisfied with your essays in the Word document, then with the word following the word limit, copy them for each of them, and then you just paste them into the boxes for the 4 sections, and then you're good to go.
Yeah, so somebody asked that, is there a personal statement for application to scholarship? I think maybe this is for Chevening, or only for essays. So there's, for Chevening, there are 4 essays that are going to touch on, each of them about 500 words limit. And there's no way you're not going to need personal statement because you're going to apply to schools. So you would need to write a personal statement either ways. So personal statement is not required to apply to Chevening, but it's required to apply to universities. I don't know if it's required for Commonwealth, but it is required to apply to universities and you would need it either ways. Can we mention your names in networking essays? Well, you can. Dr. Okechukwu is a
well, you can.
But definitely you can. Yes.
The wine is too much.
You can.
You can mention. If anybody has impacted you or influenced you in any way or stuff, you can mention it's part of giving credibility to your essays. At least in the interview stage, at some point, right? I think it was about when we were talking about my leadership experience. I had to mention one of my bosses, and the guy is a Chevening alumni. You understand? So I mean, you can choose to mention, yeah. I mean, even though we are still upcoming artists anyway.
Okay, Tolu, sorry, I wanted to say something.
Yes, sir.
So you were asking about the personal statement. So, like for Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, the 11 essays, there's one essay that is just specifically your personal statement. So, like you need to learn how to write a personal statement before you apply. So that's something you need to do. So 11 essays. So I think you could use the blank application to start drafting your essays now before applications open. So you have an idea of like how the stuff goes and send it to reviewers, or if you are so expert like our doctor here, Dr. Okechukwu, you can just, forward it and, you'll get it. So you can just send it to reviewers and, for them to review like this early. So before the scholarship timeline opens, like you're all ready and set. If there's any changes in the question, it might just be one or two and that'll just be it. But you are mostly prepared for everything. So that was just my contribution.
All right. So yeah, I think we are done. Basically, we are done. We're done.
Yeah, someone asked whether they need to get an admission into, I think we've addressed this before. You don't need to have gotten admission now, right, to apply to for Chevening. However, you must show or receive at least one unconditional offer from any of the 3 universities before 15th of July next year, which is when they are going to confirm the Chevening scholarship if you get provisionally selected. Yeah.
But let me even give you a tip. Please start your application now and get your admission. Admission comes, Dr. Okechukwu admission in 2 weeks. So please get your admission early, because you see, like it or not, when 2 people come in front of you and one says that, see, sir, I have an admission. The other says, I've just applied. Who are you going to give scholarship to? It's easy. It's easy. Like somebody comes to you, the 2 of them are both qualified for the scholarship. But one is saying that I already have an admission. The other is telling you that I never even apply. Do you understand? So please apply to schools, get your admission sorted before you even go to the interview. So this is where I want to wrap it up. For further questions, it's almost 6 o'clock, and this is the last. The meeting is going to end anytime soon. We'll upload all these videos. I'll send the links out. If you have more questions, you can send them to scholarshipconvo@gmail.com. I would respond to them, and I can share more information with us on that email. All right, guys, thank you for attending today. I think thank you so much, Dr. Okechukwu. Thank you, Dr. Samuel. Thank you, Bassey. It's great having you guys here.
Thank you, Tori, for organizing this.
Their names are here. You can shoot them LinkedIn mails. But more than those